Across history, mighty empires have soared, only to fall, their legacies scattered like leaves in the wind. The Roman, Mongol, and British empires each dominated vast territories, shaping the world for centuries. Yet none endured forever. Their rise was matched by their inevitable fall. Why do empires collapse? What hidden forces bring down even the mightiest? Tonight, we seek the answer. Stay with me as we uncover the secrets behind the downfall of great civilizations, and the lessons history whispers to those who listen. Empires expand relentlessly, driven by the quest for territory and influence. But with each conquest, challenges multiply. The Roman Empire's vastness strained its armies, bureaucracy, and resources. Distant provinces grew restless, their loyalty fading as oversight weakened. Corruption and inefficiency crept in, while the army became overstretched and reliant on mercenaries. The sense of unity unraveled, and overexpansion became Rome's greatest weakness. The very lands that symbolized greatness became costly liabilities. When ambition outpaces capacity, an empire plants the seeds of its own undoing. Overexpansion is a warning, grow beyond your means, and collapse is inevitable. With vast territories come escalating costs. Rome's wealth from conquest faded, replaced by empty treasuries and heavy taxation. Small farmers suffered, the gap between rich and poor widened, and inflation eroded confidence. Economic malaise set in, making it harder to fund armies and institutions. The Spanish Empire, flush with New World silver, also fell into debt and decline. The Soviet Union's military spending and inefficiency led to stagnation and crisis. Economic decline hollows empires from within, weakening their foundations and eroding public trust. Once begun, this erosion is hard to reverse, leaving empires vulnerable to shocks they once could withstand. No empire survives without effective governance. The strength of a civilization rests not only on its armies or wealth, but on the integrity and wisdom of those who lead it. When rulers lose sight of their responsibilities, the very fabric of society begins to unravel. As empires mature, corruption and self-interest replace discipline and vision. Officials who once served the public good become preoccupied with personal gain, and the ideals that built the empire fade into memory. In Rome, power struggles and intrigue undermined capable leaders, while bribery and nepotism flourished. The Senate, once a pillar of order, became a battleground for rival factions, each seeking advantage at the expense of the common good. The Ottoman Empire, once efficient, fell to bureaucratic decay and court intrigue. Layers of red tape and favoritism stifled innovation, and the empire's vast bureaucracy became a burden rather than a strength. When leadership falters, public trust collapses. People lose faith in their rulers, and the sense of unity that once held the empire together begins to dissolve. Laws are ignored, taxes resented, and legitimacy questioned. The rule of law, once a source of stability, becomes a tool for the powerful, deepening the divide between rulers and the ruled. Factions compete for dwindling resources, and stability vanishes. Political infighting replaces cooperation, and the empire's energy is spent on internal conflict rather than progress. Grand reforms are abandoned, and the machinery of state grinds to a halt. The promise of renewal is lost, and the empire drifts, unable to respond to new challenges. Corruption is not just a moral failing, it's a slow poison that undermines the empire's foundations. Over time, it erodes the trust, efficiency, and unity that once made the empire strong. When trust between ruler and ruled collapses, the empire's fate is sealed long before the final blow. The end rarely comes suddenly. It is the result of years of neglect, division, and decay. Internal weaknesses invite external threats. When cracks appear within, adversaries gather at the borders, sensing opportunity. The fate of empires often hinges not just on the strength of their walls, but on the unity and resolve within. The Western Roman Empire faced relentless pressure from Germanic tribes and Huns. Its legions stretched thin across vast frontiers. As enemies massed at the gates, the empire's defenders were forced to fight on multiple fronts, unable to hold back the tide. Each incursion exposed vulnerabilities, draining resources and morale. The soldiers grew weary, supplies dwindled, and the once proud armies struggled to maintain discipline and cohesion. The sack of Rome by the Visigoths shocked the world, a symbol of imperial impotence. The unthinkable had happened. The eternal city, heart of an empire, lay in ruins, its people left in despair. The Byzantine and Aztec empires also fell to invaders, exploiting internal divisions. History repeats itself. When unity falters, outsiders seize their chance, toppling even the most powerful civilizations. Military decline is both cause and consequence of collapse, marking the moment when the gates are breached. The fall of Constantinople, like Rome before it, signaled the end of an era. Even the mightiest empire cannot endure if its enemies are emboldened by its weakness. The loss of confidence within invites aggression from without, and the cycle of decline accelerates. The thunder of invasion is the final act in a much longer story of decay. The breach of the gates is not the beginning, but the culmination of years, sometimes centuries of internal strife and gradual decline. The world is always changing, evolving in ways both subtle and dramatic, but empires, once powerful, often resist the tides of transformation. In their prime, empires lead the world in innovation and creativity, driving progress and shaping history. Yet, as time passes, complacency and a sense of invincibility set in, causing leaders to cling to old ways and traditions. Rome's once flexible tactics and efficient bureaucracy grew rigid, unable to adapt to new threats or shifting realities. What was once a source of strength became a barrier to survival. The Qing dynasty too resisted reform and modernization, clinging to tradition even as the world around them changed rapidly, leaving themselves vulnerable to foreign powers and internal revolt. Social change matters too. Ignoring the grievances and aspirations of subject peoples only hastens decline. Discontent festers, eventually erupting into protest, rebellion, or revolution. The British Empire's slow and reluctant response to independence movements across its colonies sped its dissolution, as new nations demanded self-determination and freedom. Innovation must be institutional as well as technological. It's not enough to invent new machines. Systems, laws, and mindsets must evolve too, or risk being left behind. Failure to adapt traps empires in decline, while more agile rivals seize the initiative, outmaneuvering and eventually surpassing those who remain stuck in the past. The world ultimately belongs to those who dare to change, to those who embrace uncertainty and reinvent themselves for new eras. Adapt or perish. This is the timeless truth that determines the fate of empires, echoing through history as both a warning and a lesson for the future. Empires collapse from many forces converging: overexpansion, economic decline, corruption, external threats, and failure to adapt. These patterns echo across the ruins of Rome and the palaces of the Ottomans. No empire is immune. The illusion of permanence is just that, an illusion. True power lies in adaptability, strong institutions, and a willingness to innovate. The story of empires is the story of humanity, its triumphs, follies, and endless capacity for renewal. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of history, please like, subscribe, and share for more fascinating insights.